What's going on, everybody? My name is Aiden and welcome back to another video. Ladies and gentlemen, today we are going to be discussing the Chicago Bulls and their game against the Milwaukee Bucks. What an entertaining game it was for the Chicago Bulls, but unfortunately we walk away with a loss in this game. Now again, I think if you were expecting the Bulls to kind of just go on this massive, long, sustaining winning streak and whatnot, you would have been sorely mistaken eventually. At the end of the day, the Bulls went on a 4-game winning streak, which is actually very, very strong. But it's not necessarily, for me at least, about the wins and the losses. Oh my goodness, we're 9-15, it's all over for the Chicago Bulls. Or, oh my goodness, we should have been 15-9, having the best record in the season. Whatever the case may be. For me, it's not necessarily about the record at this point. Right now, we're in a situation where the Chicago Bulls are about to trade potentially their best player, and we could be getting assets in return, whether it's draft compensation or role players in return, whatever the case may be. And this team right now needs to shine on its own. And I can safely say, in an overtime performance against the Milwaukee Bucks, a team that a lot of people thought were going to be championship contenders this season, I can safely say the Chicago Bulls brought an entertaining game, but more importantly, a fight. A fight we didn't see at the beginning of the season. A fight that we often questioned after every single game that we have lost. But no one can come out here and tell me the Chicago Bulls did not put a shift in this game. The Bulls did not want to win this game. The Bulls did not fight for this game. No one can tell me those things because the Bulls delivered a great game. The Bulls delivered a fantastic performance, but unfortunately we came up short. So let's quickly discuss what went right and what went wrong for the Chicago Bulls. Let's start off with the first half. I think in the first half, again, we did well to keep up with Milwaukee, but at the end of the day, we gave up around 74 points in the first half of the game. And that is kind of where I feel personally the game is won and lost because look, 60 points. I think the Milwaukee Bucks ended up giving up 60 points in the half in their own right. But Milwaukee have been struggling defensively for a long time now. Even in their wins, they are struggling defensively. It's as simple as it gets from that point of view. But at the end of the day, I think giving up 74 points in a half is ridiculous, in all honesty, on the defensive end. So that's where I feel like the game was won and lost. It was pretty much won and lost by halftime in my eyes. Because if we had the second half that we did and we ended up having, again, we were strong in the second half, I would say, at least offensively. We kind of picked things up from where we were in the first half offensively. If we could have just picked up our defensive work, we could have won this game. But 74 points is crazy to give up. Then obviously that led to the 133-point performance in overtime. In general. So there you go. I think that's where the game was won and lost. But offensively, man, the Bulls did a heck of a job. They really, really did. In the first half, it was fun to watch. In the second half, it was fun to watch. But when you're looking at what went wrong for the Chicago Bulls, you turn your head directly to some of the last possessions in the fourth quarter. You're definitely turning your head to overtime because it felt like it was a hero ball contest for the Chicago Bulls and it didn't really work out in our favor. In overtime, the key difference in the win and the loss is that the Bulls reverted back to isolation and hero ball while Milwaukee were getting to the foul line. Now, look, you can question the refs all you like. I've had a bunch of things to say about the refs in this game and how I felt like there was a little bit of lack of calls for the Chicago Bulls. There was one call where DeMar DeRozan got a rip-through foul and Brook Lopez fouled. So two people fouled in that one possession. Not one call was given to the Chicago Bulls. At some point, I felt like Billy Donovan lost his challenge. I don't know if he even challenged anything, but that was very disappointing to see. And I didn't like that from Billy Donovan. If he had a challenge, he should have used it. If he didn't, then my bad, because I assumed he had a challenge at some point. But whatever the case may be, that was very disappointing to see. And Milwaukee lived at the line. Giannis had a bunch of free throws. Pretty much Giannis. It was pretty much just Giannis. He had a bunch of free throws in this game. A couple of other guys did get to the foul line by the end. And we just could not get to the line. We couldn't score. We played too much hero ball and isolation in overtime, and we lost the game. But that's okay, in my eyes. That's okay. Because this young team is going to start having problems. Look, I love this young team. I think this team is really proving something on the heart and the spirit of the Chicago Bulls. They're providing a lot of great work. And look, we could have walked away with a win in this game. It could have went either way. It went to OT for a reason. Our first lead wasn't overtime. We could have walked away with a win in this game. But the reason why I'm okay with a loss like this is because there are going to be problems coming for the Chicago Bulls. This young team will be inconsistent. Guys like Io, straight zeros across the board, I believe, this game. Inconsistent. Io is inconsistent. Guys like Patrick Williams sometimes are inconsistent. You know, we're starting to find that stability and consistency out of Kobe, which is nice, but young teams are often inconsistent. It's the harsh reality of the NBA. And inconsistency comes problems created. So this Bulls team is not going to have every problem resolved now that Zach LaVine is out of the lineup. It's just not going to happen that way. We're seeing a lot more positives than negatives, which is fantastic. Even today, a lot more positives than negatives. But to say there's no more problems for the Chicago Bulls, all of our issues are solved, is just not reality. It's not true. So you're going to see big problems. You might see the Bulls revert back to isolation every now and then. You might see the Bulls struggle offensively every now and then. You might see the Bulls give up 74 points and a half every now and then. You might see the turnovers increase every now and then. But that's just the inconsistency of a young team. But what I can't question is the work ethic. What I can't question is the heart. What I can't question is how badly the Bulls wanted to win the game, even in the stage that it's in. We had a back-to-back tomorrow against Denver. We got another game tomorrow coming up. But the Bulls still delivered an overtime performance, even if we did lose. The Bulls took it to overtime. They did not want to lose that game. And that is something I'm going to take every day of the week. So if you're upset that the Bulls lost, look, I understand your pain. It's never nice to lose a close game, especially against a competitive team like Milwaukee. But the heart was there. And I'm not going to be upset with a loss like this. These are the losses that I can accept, where the Bulls fought hard, tooth and nail, made it competitive, took it to one of the best teams in the NBA, and they made fans across the world proud of themselves, which is good. Good to see. Happy with that. But it's those blowout losses, or those losses where you simply just felt like the Bulls didn't try hard enough, or the Bulls are disrespecting the jersey that they wear and the fans that are watching them. That's the losses I can't deal with. And that's not what we saw. So take it with what you will. Again, we can look at some stats, but I'm not going to really look too deep into the individual performances, especially after a loss. But I want to give Kobe White another incredible... Again, he's had another incredible game. I want to give him the respect that he deserves here. 33 points, extended that 3-point streak even further. Was really, really good playmaking-wise with 4 assists. Had the hot hand, and I felt like in the fourth quarter and overtime we didn't really use him as much as we probably should have. But at the end of the day, he did come with the hot hand. DeMar DeRozan ended up with 41 points and 11 assists today. Now, DeMar DeRozan, in my opinion, in overtime, is pretty much responsible for the Bulls' loss in my eyes. Yes, he did end up getting... He got us to overtime. He had an amazing game. I mean, if you're arguing with 41 and 11, I don't know what you want from DeMar DeRozan. Yes, he was partly responsible. Yes, we did end up losing the game in general. But again, he did a lot of great things in this game. And sometimes we did revert back, and that will be on DeMar DeRozan's hands. But he played a solid game. I'm not going to go out here and say trade DeMar DeRozan after this type of game. No, not for me. We'll see if he can continue delivering good performances. But I like when DeMar DeRozan passes the ball. And 11 assists speaks to that. And a whole bunch of other guys played some solid games here. Patrick Williams with another 15-point night. Really good to see. Andre Drummond had 7 points. A lot of people said we should have went to him in the overtime performance. That's definitely a conversation and a talking point. But you get the idea. This wasn't a typical Bulls game in the sense that almost everybody got involved. A couple of stagnating performances. A couple of guys that didn't step up to the plate. But we saw some step-ups from some young guys and our veterans today. So, again, I'll take what we can get. Our next game's against the Denver Nuggets. There will be a watch-along for that one as well. We had a couple of people in the watch-along for this Bucks game, so I thank you all for stopping by. I thank you all for watching this video. Drop a like and a follow, and or subscribe if you are new, and I will see you in the next one. Stay safe, stay healthy, stay tuned for more. Take care, and peace.